Hey guys, Kviden here with some survival ascendant building tips and tricks. I've been meaning to make this video for a while, but this game just keeps crashing, like a frustrating amount of crashing. So it's taken me a minute to finally make this, but here we are. And we're gonna cover a couple different topics in this video, and I'll have it all sectioned out so you can skip to whatever parts you wanna see. First, we're gonna be talking about lowering and raising foundations, which you guys have probably already seen some ways to do it, but I got a new weirdly Kviden way to do it, and look at this, so clean, so many options for it, guys. Then we're gonna be talking about some space management jazz and like crafting station stacking and whatnot using pillars, and I got a lot of cool little examples to show you off. To show off to you. and then we're gonna be talking about how to build crooked and sideways and how to do a nice 90-degree angle rotation and how to build it so it's snapped back in line with normal regular foundations. So you can do all sorts of wacky stuff like use these big old trapdoors or whatever they're called as a big old dino gate. It's pretty cool. And you can do just some really bizarre stuff with that. Then we're just briefly gonna touch on circles and how to use triangles and squares together, because you guys always seem to fail to understand that whenever I make videos using them. And then we will end it on the big thing all the PvP boys want, and that is how to stack and layer, right? You got stacking and layering ceilings, but it needs a little pillar there. How to stack and layer walls indefinitely. I think you can do as many as you want, but it needs a pillar, which is a weakness. And then how to do it so they're right inside of each other and it doesn't need a pillar, only needs the foundation. Very clean, very easy to do too. Not as janky as a lot of the other videos I've seen. So stick around to the end of the video if you want to see the best ways to stack and layer for all your PvP defenses, and let's just jump right into this poop. We're gonna start off over here on a flat map. Oh, do you like that transition? I had fun with that. And we're gonna do it over here where it's nice and flat, so there's no grass to obstruct the view of anything. And like I said a few seconds ago, we're gonna start with lowering and raising foundations. And everybody knows you can do it like this, the default way, but that's boring. And you got this other default way. You can just snap a fence foundation and then a wall and then a lower one. And ooh, look, we got a new snap point. Isn't that cool? But everybody knows how to do that. You can just do a half wall, quarter wall, whatever, and a foundation again, and ooh, look, a new snap point. Boring. Everybody knows how to do this, guys. Everybody has seen this. Everybody's with any 2 brain cells has figured out how to do this. Let me show you my patented smooth brain Kviden lowering and raising technique that can get you pretty much any size or angle or height you want. You just start with a ladder, because you guys know I love my ladders. Makes it so you can only look up and down and not left and right. You don't have to be at the very top, but I like to be able to see where I'm looking and just put a foundation. Look, 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 there's only one spot way out there it can go. You just look out, get it just barely there, and if you try to just place it up and down, see, that's annoying. If your mouse wiggles around, use your arrow keys, guys. Arrow keys, and look, smooth up and down. Ooh, and you can choose whatever height you want for your build. And then when you place it, I'm not sure why the game does this, but the foundation will always be 2.5 foundations away from that first starting point. And look at that, it's lined up nice and neat, and you can adjust whatever height you want using this. Here, I'll just keep showing you. You go up the ladder, and just barely before it's in the air, that last little point right there. And then you can just up and down with the arrows to get whatever height you want for whatever weird stuff you're doing, guys, and it's always 2.5 foundations away. It lines up nice and neat. It doesn't technically snap or give supports, but all the other foundation height changes don't actually give support anyway, so who knows? I find it fascinating, guys. Look at this. You can make the most minute little change this way, or you could do a big jump. It's weirdly fascinating to me. I don't know if anybody else has discovered this, or if it would take somebody with a really dumb smooth brain and an obsession with ladders like me to discover it, but yeah, I just think it's neat. I don't know what to tell you. Just a foundation, a ladder on the back side of it, look out until you see that one little point it will place the foundation, and you can just make some cool stuff. And look at this, guys. Woo, fun transition. Get used to it. I'm gonna do it the entire video, but but look at that smooth transition. A little gradual incline. You can make some really weird stuff with this, and I'm going to, guys, because I don't know how much time I get left in this world. I'm gonna get real weird with it. And some of you guys are gonna go, oh, but this is on a flat surface, Kviden. What about hills? Well, guess what? It works on hills too, guys. I don't know why the Ark jank gods have blessed my weird discovery, and it works on hills too. Kinda, with a caveat that it's harder to tell how high it is on the hill, but it still does it. It still snaps at the exact same distance of 2.5 foundations away, still nicely in line. It's just kind of harder to, like, on the hill, it's kind of harder to visualize what height you want. And sometimes you can't get the right height because it won't let you snap down inside the hill, especially if you're doing like me with official server settings, which this is. Before you ask, it is official server settings. But look at that, it works on the hills. It's a little jankier downhill though. It still works, but sometimes it will be slightly too far away if you have it lower down since you're on an incline, and it will go and won't let you place it like that. See, it'll go, but you just gotta make sure it's not too low. But again, it still snaps the same distance, 2.5 foundations, but sometimes it can be a little hard, a little jankier on a hill, but still useful, still handy for building if you want to have like offsets and weird height differences in your build. It's still really useful, despite the amount of jank that happens on a steeper incline like this. It's still really handy, and if you look at the other like tricks to lower and raise foundations, they're also pretty janky in Survival Ascendant. Like it's not as easy as it was in Survival Evolved. And like right here is actually a perfect example of where it breaks. The new snap point for that foundation would be hovering. So it won't let it do it. It will snap to the other snap point from the lower foundation. And you see what I'm saying? It can be a little janky on hills, but if I was a bit more patient and not trying to speed through this video because it's gonna be way too long already, I could have made that work, guys. You just could have put a ceiling out and then put a wall down and then put the new foundation, and you get what I'm saying. You can fiddle around with it, guys. There's a lot of potential there to lower and raise foundations using this technique to make some interesting things, but we're gonna move past it and go on to turning these foundations sideways, specifically 45-degree angle and a 90-degree angle. You could do others, but these are the most convenient and useful, I feel like. So to start with, you place down a foundation, then a ceiling or a ramp, whatever this is, and put a spike wall on it. But you don't want to just eyeball it. That would get you some bad, off, weird, janky angles. So once again, we're going to turn to my old pal, the ladder. Go over here, climb up this bad boy, since you can only look up and down. Keeps them nice and straight. Look at that. Ah, yeah, those are some straight spikes. And then you just go ahead and you snap a fence foundation to the spike wall. I don't know why it has a snap point for them, but it does. Yeah, put your fence foundation down. It will be angled 45 degree, and we're just gonna snap a wall onto that fence foundation and a foundation onto the wall. Then we're gonna zip on, fast forward through me picking them all up because you don't need to see that really, do ya? But look at that. Nice and straight with the original one. It's not tilted at some weird off angle. It's very clean, and you can build all sorts of weird stuff with this. Like you could use the trapdoor or cellar door, whatever it's called, the big behemoth boy. You could put him at a 45-degree angle, use him for a pyramid. That'd be sick, right? Like, it's not too bad to do. This one is pretty easy, but if you want to get it to a 90-degree angle, it does get a little bit more jank. Just look at this. Look at these beautiful snap points, guys. Like, so don't try to eyeball this. I'm gonna go ahead and use ladders again, but even then it'll still be janky. So we're gonna have to put a little triangle ceiling here to put the ladder on it to get the right snap point, because we can't put it, right? We can't put it in the backside, it'd be inside the ground, and I don't have structure collision on because I do all my stuff with official server settings. So you jump up on the ladder. It's kind of hard to get on the ladder, and it'll be straight. It's a struggle to find that snap point. Like, I mean, it's slightly better. It's slightly better than trying to eyeball it, but it is still a giant pain in the ass. But that is the price you have to pay if you want to make some weird, wacky, sideways stuff, guys. You gotta deal with the arc jank. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not Captain Fat Dog, guys. I'm not that good. So just get back on your ladder and hope for the best. Like that right there. That looks good, right? That's acceptable. So once again, just snap your fence foundation to it. It'll be sideways. You put a wall down and then a ceiling on the wall. And ooh, see, this is something I'm actually glad happened, because sometimes it won't let you snap onto it like that. If it does do this to you, just put another fence foundation over, another wall, and hope that the gods of the arc jank have blessed you and you can place your foundation, guys. Your mileage may vary depending on terrain because, like I said, it's arc. It's extremely jank. If you want to lower it, though, just put a little half wall, and then you can put the lower foundation, and look at that. God, we can pick up some of this jazz again. We don't need this, but 45-degree angle over there, a clean 90-degree angle over here. And you can make some really cool things with this, guys. Like, just look at this castle wall, guys. Is that not sick or what? Because it's bigger than a dino gate, but it's a bit smaller than a behemoth gate. It's just the right size for a base that's not massive, because a dino gate kind of sucks. A lot of dinos cannot fit through it. A T-Rex right here can't fit through it, but the behemoth gate is way too big for the Rex, so this little gate over here, this sideways hatch frame boy, is perfect for a T-Rex and for some of these big, medium-sized, not Giga or Bronto-sized critters. Like here it is normally, and then here it is over here, rotated to a 90-degree angle so it's lined up with the walls. I just love it. But that begs the question of how do you get that horizontal twisted boy lined up with a normal foundation? Because that sounds like a daunting process, but it's really not that bad, guys. Just snap a fence foundation to the horizontal foundation, and from there you snap a spike wall, and there are a couple different little snap locations. Choose the closest one to the original foundation, and then you just go ahead and snap a fence foundation to that spike wall, and it will be back at the default orientation. You can go ahead and do a wall and a foundation and get it right back to normal, guys. It's pretty simple. And then we're just gonna go ahead and use a quarter wall and a ceiling to raise the foundation back up so it's the same height as our rotated foundation. Let's go ahead and pick all these boys up, zoop, 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 break a couple of them because I don't need them, and there we go. It's nice and even together, the horizontal one and the regular one, guys. And you can build all sorts of crazy hijinks with this. Like, look at this, a normal wall lined up with the hatch frame. Oh, I broke it. I'm gonna struggle now and spend like way too long trying to place this to show you what I mean and messing up the snap points, but you get the idea, guys. Like, you can build all around it and they line up nice and evenly. I'm doing a bad job with this demonstration, but yeah, look at that. You can place that, build the walls up, and it lines up nice and perfect with it. Kind of silly that I got to go to so much trouble to make a slightly different sized gate because wildcard won't add more, but anyway, moving past that, we're going to look at some other weird applications of this technique, in that if you have these ceilings turned sideways, you can and you enable snapping, you can snap things to the wall. Does that not make a pretty unique and cool but like functional little crafting area? Because these foundations back there are horizontal, so the ceilings are going up. Those aren't walls, they're ceilings that are just turned sideways. But you can, like I showed off earlier in the beginning, you can even go up here and place industrial forges completely sideways. I don't know why you'd want to, but you have the option, guys. And another really cool thing that comes along with that is, look at this. These are not ceilings, these are walls that are sideways. And apparently sideways walls is synonymous with slip and slide, because you just slide off of it. It's pretty fun, actually. But what's even weirder is the trap doors they're not slippery, you don't slide off of them. So you could probably make some cool traps where they slide on into it and they stand there and they go, oh, I'm safe, and then they just whoop right down into it. It opens up so many cool possibilities, guys. And I almost forgot to show you how to do it with the 45 degrees. So you just put a little fence foundation snapped right there, and then a spike wall off of that, and then another fence foundation off of that spike wall, just like with the 90-degree one. Then you go do ceiling, foundation, bada bing, bada boom, pick all this garbage up because we don't need it anymore. And then we're gonna go over to get, actually I might raise this guy up a little bit here. I might do the same thing as before, get a higher up foundation, guys. See how that looks, but actually I don't think that was not the right move, guys. That was a mistake. Don't listen to past Kviden, listen to current Kviden, because you want it nice and flat so when you place the roof, it lines up with it, guys. Yeah, pretty clean. Although they don't quite match perfectly because one of them's longer than the other, but whatever. You can put quarter walls on the top. Not a big deal, guys, because you can just fill in any minor holes you have with a pillar, and you can make something cool like this, guys. This is something I'm making for an upcoming build. As soon as Scorched Earth comes out, I'm gonna make a giant pyramid, and we got a behemoth gate rotated 45 degrees so it matches the pyramid and doesn't stick out anything. And God, it looks so clean, guys. Does that not look cool as hell to you? Anyway, we're moving on to stacking crafting stations, and you can do it this way, with the normal boring way with quarter walls and quarter ceilings, and I mean, it's all right. Kind of hard to reach the ones at the top though, and you know, it's pretty ugly, guys. I don't like it. There's a much better way, and that is pillars, my boys. Pillars, guys, because you can snap crafting stations and storage boxes and whatnot to the pillar and have them float. So right here, I'm using a fridge on top of a fridge. Much cleaner than the other way, and you can pick up the bottom one and the top one floats. But this is a weird thing because normally you can't place things on top of fridges. I'm not sure how this works, what ArcJank does to do this, but It's pretty cool, but you don't have to use just fridges on top of fridges. You can put smithies up there or anything, and they'll hover, and you can do a lot of really, really neat things with this because you don't have to use fridges. They're a little bit expensive just to use for that, and they might not be the right height you want, so you can use tables, guys, and you can, I mean, it's a little jank. You gotta look directly at the pillar and not at the table, but then once you get it to snap right, you can pick up the table and boom, you got a hovering fridge just a little bit off the ground. But that's not really useful, that one, right? But there are plenty of other options, guys. You just gotta use crop plots. And normally you can't place structures on top of crop plots, but bizarrely you can place tables on top of crop plots. So that's what we're gonna do. Just put down a table on top of crop plot, and then you can snap something to that on the pillar if you can get it to go. Arc jank, there you go, but it worked. Pick these bad boys up, and now you have a floating fridge at a pretty decent height that you can put a smithy or some other things below. This just opens up so many options for like more compact crafting areas that are also aesthetically pleasing, but you don't have to use horizontal pillars, you can use the vertical ones. And we're gonna go ahead, you can put like a light on the wall, guys. I think I did this on my next build for the castle. You can have some pretty cool chandeliers doing that, hanging from the ceilings and whatnot. And just a lot of options. So instead of me showing you every option and like every possible combination of this technique, I'm just gonna show you some examples and you can fiddle around with it, you know, see what works for you. Just play around, put some crop plots, so you can stack the crop plots too, then put a table on top of it. For some reason, you can't put the barrels on the top. They don't want to snap to the pillar, but you can put stuff on top of it. You can stack up multiple of the tables or tables on top of the fridges or fridges on top of the crop plots. You got a lot of options, guys, and I really don't think you need me to sit here and tell you how to do all of them. I believe in you. But this one right here actually is kind of cool because you can have storage above it, but it's not so high that you can't put a ceiling. I kind of wish I had done this on my last really compact tiny base. This would have been super useful. Not this one specifically, but the one next to it. It's the same idea, but it has a smithy with 2 forges on top of it, and you can put a ceiling on it. Like, why didn't I find this out a couple months ago? That would have been so cool. It's so handy for little tiny micro hidden bases. I love it, guys. I love it. Look at that. It's just so compact, and you know, it ticks that part of my brain that I love it. But if I'm being honest, guys, I don't know what else I'm supposed to say in this part of the narration because I feel like it's very self-explanatory. Just look at the screen. But at the same time, some of you guys have that like ADHD TikTok zoomer brain, and if I stop talking for even a second, you'll go, boring, and click off the video. But I don't know why I'm saying that because I wager a lot of you guys already did. But look at this. A fridge on top of a fridge. Very clean, much better than the option I showed you earlier with the little like quarter walls. That's boring, but you don't even need walls actually. Just remove the walls and use the pillars. You can put the fridge back a little bit so it's lined up with the pillar, and you can have your preserving bins nice and lined up on top of it. Very clean, very easy to reach compared to the other one, guys. And you can do it with grills and all sorts of jazz, really. Like, it's just kind of a useful technique to straighten up your base and make it nice and even and take up less space. I don't know what to say, guys. I hope you're enjoying my weird choices of Kirby music in the background. At the intro, I don't know why I chose Nintendogs. I hope there's like 5 of you that heard the intro and went, oh, why, that's Nintendogs. I don't know why I did that. I just thought it was funny. Move past it. You don't even need walls. Look at this, guys. You can just snap up. Yeah, you can reach it from the ground pretty easily. Anyway, I think that is enough of this because I'm getting rambly. It's like 3 a.m., guys. We're gonna move on past this one on to the next subject, okay? It's not like anybody's watching this. The algorithm's weird. Nobody's playing Survival Ascendant. But that transition was kind of fun, though, right? So let's talk about circles. Can we talk about circles, guys? I've been dying to talk to you about circles all week because they're actually really easy to make, but you guys seem to get confused by them a lot of time in my videos. So you make a hexagon out of 6 triangles, then you attach squares to the end of those triangles, then you put triangles in between the squares, and bada bing, bada boom, you got yourself as close to a circle as you're gonna get in arc. Now, you can extend it outwards very easily by just going ahead. You see you got a square, you got a triangle. You put a triangle on the square, you put a square on the triangle. It's very easy, guys, not hard to follow along at all. Or it's very easy to follow along, but there's a weird thing here you'll see, is that you do triangles in between those again. Triangles in between the squares, of course. And you'll notice that now the triangles it's kind of uneven, it's kind of lopsided, right? The square sides are only 1 wall wide, whereas the triangles are 2 wall. But that's very simple to fix. You just, again, put squares on the triangles, squares on the triangles, squares on the triangles, triangles on the squares. This sounds, I've said this so many times now, it sounds like complete nonsense to me, but you just gotta rotate between triangles and squares. If you ever find yourself having a problem where things don't mesh well together, swap between triangles and squares and play around with it for a minute, because you can do all sorts of goodies. Why did I look off like that, like I was transitioning off of it? You can do all sorts of goodies with this. And if you want to make a bigger one, like say you have a little base right here, right? This is your little home, it's 5 wide, and you go, I want a big circle attached to it behind it. Very simple, actually. You don't have to start at the center, you can start on the outside. So since you have 5 there, you want to have this outside part of the triangles right here be 5 wide too, just like, so let's put a wall here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You want to have this wall be 5 on the outside right here as well. So 2, 3, 4, and then 5. Okay, boom, 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 5 wide. And now you just keep repeating the pattern of triangles and squares. And it doesn't matter how big you're doing your big round base. It could be 3 wide on the outside, or it could be 25. You just keep alternating between them, and it turns out, boom, a nice big circle, guys. Now what you gotta do though is you gotta fill this bad boy in. And it's pretty simple. Once again, you just alternate between triangles and squares. Why am I still repeating this? I feel like I'm a madman and these words don't even sound like words anymore. They're just noises. But there actually is a second way to fill it in if you want, and that is you pull the triangles out until they make a nice triangle, and then you do squares, and you alternate between square on the square bits, triangle on the triangle bits, and then the center will end up being a big old hexagon made out of a lot of triangles. And the reason you might want to do this is because right here, look at this. This one's very simple, easy to follow along, maybe I think, but it makes some weird shaped rooms when you start putting walls down. Which, I mean, you might like that. It might be what you're going for, but since crafting stations and all the, like, storage boxes are generally boxy, it kind of makes it a pain to fit them down. So this other way, so the little technique over here for filling it in is a lot more helpful, I think, and more useful because you have box-shaped rooms that you can use for your box-shaped crafting stations. Anywho, if you want to, once again, try to attach a circle base to your normal boxy base or whatever, making a castle or something, you just slap some triangles on that bad boy. Put the squares out from one side and triangles on the other, and it's really simple, guys. I promise you, it's not as hard as you guys think it is. And just look at all these options out here. Woo! I gestured with my hand like you can see that for some reason. But yeah, here are just some options. You alternate between triangles and squares. Pause it, look at them, be inspired by them, or don't. I don't care. It's your life. Do whatever you want. But you know what you shouldn't do anymore, guys, is complain in my comments and go, oh, well, where are you gonna find so much flat space, Kviden? You can't build this on hills. The whole world is hilly. Yes, I know it is, guys, but you can build on uneven terrain super easily. This game lets you snap foundations up and down on the hill. It's not that hard, guys. Come on. Please stop. You're killing me. Please don't cry about this in the comments anymore, guys. It just, you do this shape that you see me do on the flat terrain, and then you do it with the foundations, right? They may look ugly like that, but then you put your ceilings above it in the same shape, and there you go. You have it. It's nice. You just gotta fill in these little holes with the quarter walls, and God, it's not that hard, guys. I promise. You are big boys. You can build on uneven terrain. The game makes it super easy, and yeah, if you think I'm being absurd right now, just go look through some of the comments. I get this all the time where people are like, where are you gonna find so much open space for your base? But you don't need open space, guys. Just build on a hill. You might have like a weird one side that's lower down, but make a basement or whatever. It's not that big a deal, guys. Just, this is a circle. It's on uneven terrain. Move past it. I've been watching way too much Always Sunny because I keep using that like a catchphrase now. But we're gonna go on to the next one, boys, which is the big one, and that's layering walls and ceilings, boys. I know you PvP guys have been waiting for this because in the old Ark, it used to be so easy, guys. You could just do a ceiling and simpler times, am I right? Now, Now, there are a couple different ways, but I'm going to show you my weird Kviden way, which involves the same foundation technique from earlier. You don't got to be at the top, but it's easier to see what you're doing. So you go to the top, put a foundation way out there. It should end up being 2.5 foundations away. And the plus side is it's not quite perfect. It just slightly clips into the other one, which gives you 2 snap points for the walls. Now, it's very hard to just put a wall inside of a wall unless you have structure collision turned off. If you're playing on unofficials, it should be a bit easier, but with official servers, I find that using the big old doors here is a lot easier to clip it inside of each other. See, first try. But now you pick up this and tests. You gotta test it, guys, because that was not right. There was a bit too close or a bit too far away, because the way Arc works with this is really bizarre to me. The walls have to be like essentially inside of each other to some weird degree so that they gain the support from the same foundation. I don't understand it. I have a smooth brain, guys. I just know that this works the majority of the time. So pick it up and see, look, now both of the doors are there. We don't need that anymore. And we can go ahead and replace the doors with walls. Although that again is also extremely difficult and annoying. So I like to put a wall off to the side and then try to get it. I saw it. There you go. There we go, guys. We have 2 walls that are supported from 1 foundation. It is a little bit jank, but I promise you this is easier than the other ways I have seen online that are 50 more steps and way jankier. But all of it is going to be horribly jank, and I actually don't recommend you do this one. I'm firmly of the belief that extra layers of walls are not a good protection for PvP. Just build more turrets, guys. More turrets and big old cages around your things to stop people from getting near it. If you want to do extra layers of walls, just put another layer of foundations. It's a million times easier than this. But this is kind of cool, I guess, for like aesthetics or for decorations. You can mix and match different types of walls. And it has the added benefit of you can keep doing this. It doesn't have to be just 2 layers. You can repeat the process again to get another layer, but I'm warning you, it gets even jankier. So just put a foundation back from that first snap point, go up to the top, put a new foundation down, and then go back again 2.5 foundations, and you will have a new snap point there, you see? But this is where the problem comes in, guys. The snap points in this game are horrible to get them to actually place right. I hate it. You have 3 snap points there, but God, good luck getting those to actually snap, guys. I don't know what to tell you. Survival Ascendant is way jankier in this regard than Survival Evolved was when it comes to layering walls. And in fact, it was actually so annoying while recording this that I just kind of gave up. Like, look at this. Look at the struggle is real, guys. I got it to work when I was originally testing all of this, but God, trying to get anything more than 2 layers of walls with that little technique is just insanely frustrating, so don't do it. Anyway, over here, there's a better way to do it if you're stacking walls. So let's just build a little box like this is your little base. We don't need those because I was in a rush, but this is your little base, okay? And say you want to upgrade it and get some defenses for extra walls. So you put a ceiling out, a quarter wall from that, and then you build a Pac-Man off of the quarter wall. Just like this. You see that? You got your little Pac-Man. If you don't have the quarter wall to snap, the triangles wouldn't be half a wall off, you know? Half a ceiling off? Whatever. But you put a wall over here on this, and it lines up real nice with the other one. But this has a problem in that if you pick this up, poof, it's gone. It's got to have support. So you put the ceiling back, you put the wall back, and you put a pillar underneath it. And now that the wall has emotional support, it can stand up by itself, guys. You can just go ahead and pick up these ceilings and boom, look at that. It's lined up nicely. It's emotionally stable. I don't know what I'm saying anymore, but you can repeat it very easily on all of the sides. Just build your offset Pac-Man, put your pillar down, pick all these up, and boom, 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 boom. See how much easier that is than the other way, guys? You can fill in the little gaps in the pillars, but you have a problem now in that you got these weird gaps. I guess you can fill them in with ramps, you know, but I still don't think this is very good for PvP because that has a point of failure. They can just break the pillar and then all the walls on that side of the base will fall down. So if you're gonna do this on official server, make sure you got a lot of extra pillars for support and cover them up with as many ramps as you can. You can also extend this out again if you want. Just get, okay, but see, now you have a problem with support because you don't have enough support there. But you can just go out from that wall that is already out that you did a second ago. The first layer, you can make another layer, do the same thing again. But now you have a problem over here, you see, where, uh-oh, the pillar from the last one is in the way for this pillar. And with official server settings and no structure collision, you can't do it. It's no bueno. So you have to space out your pillars, and it's a whole thing, guys. Once again, I do not recommend this for official server PvP. Do it on unofficial servers if you have like a lot of extra resources, or if you're playing on a PvE one or maybe an RP server or something, you want to have some nice decorations. I did that wrong right there. You got to have the quarter wall. You can tell that it's like 4 a.m. now and I'm getting tired because I'm making a lot of mistakes. But that's what I go through for you, the viewer. Not really. I'm just doing this because I couldn't sleep, guys. Anyway, you can keep repeating this as many times out as you want, as long as the pillars aren't inside of each other. You can go out for like 40 layers of walls if you wanted to, if you were a mad lad. Again, I don't recommend it though. So, yeah. Let's just move on to the last little bit, which is layering ceilings. Unfortunately, I haven't found out a way how to layer ceilings like the first layering walls where they share the same support from the same foundation, but are offset enough to layer, so we're gonna have to use pillars. And I'm gonna go back to this same technique I did before to raise and lower the foundations just slightly. Because this way you can have pretty easily some different heights for the foundations that you can use for different heighted ceilings. And if you're confused about the whole foundation part I just did, go back to the very beginning and watch the bit about lowering and raising foundations. Why did you skip to the end? You gotta watch the whole thing. But anyway, there we go. We got 2 ceilings. They're perfectly lined up, but oh, whoa, it doesn't have support, tragically. So you gotta put it back over there and then put a pillar on it going down to the ground. But you gotta make sure that pillar is actually attached to the right ceiling, because I very clearly messed this up right here, because poof, it's all gone. So you gotta place it on the right ceiling, guys, which is kind of hard and annoying because Ark is janky. And you know by now, if you've played Ark and you're watching my videos, you know Ark's jank, but just get the right snap point for the pillar and boom, there we go. You got your nicely layered ceilings for your PvP defenses. And actually, I don't think this one's too bad because you can hide the pillars inside the base. So maybe do it, maybe don't. You're an adult, make your own decisions about how you want to play PvP. But that is the end of the video, guys. Thank you for sticking around through all my long rambling, and I hope you learned something. If you want to see this castle that was featured in the video or the pyramid that I showed you, be sure to subscribe because these are going to be build videos I will post in the next week or two, or whenever Scorched Earth comes out. You know, yeah, you know how it is. But yeah, like the video, or don't, or subscribe, or whatever you want. Goodbye the sun setting. Don't die in your sleep. I love you. Bye!